Let's go Chiefs! We've got some hot updates coming out of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're talking about some shocking free agent targets that could be headed to Arrowhead. Some of these names may seem unlikely, even crazy, but when you break it down, they could make a lot of sense for the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, veterans hungry for another ring, and players who could add serious depth to this already crowded roster. And let's be honest, if there's one thing we know about Brett Veach and Andy Reid, it's that they're never afraid to make bold moves to keep this dynasty rolling. I'll tell you everything that's going on. But before we continue, hit the like button if you trust Andy Reid's strategy. If possible, comment something like this: "Come on, Andy. Do what's best for the Chiefs." Let's start with a name that might just blow your mind: Von Miller. Yep, you heard that right. The same Von Miller who terrorized quarterbacks for years, the same Von Miller who gave the Chiefs absolute nightmares when he was with the Denver Broncos, and the same Von Miller who won a Super Bowl with the LA Rams before moving to Buffalo. Now, he's not the same dominant force he was in his prime, but let's be real, Kansas City doesn't need him to be. With Chris Jones anchoring the defensive line, George Karlaftis emerging as one of the best young pass rushers in football, and Charles Omenihu making a big impact, adding Von Miller to this rotation could be downright scary for the rest of the league. Think about it, Von Miller coming off the edge in key third-down situations, hunting quarterbacks with a fresh set of legs, knowing he wouldn't have to be an every-down player. Last season with the Bills, he still managed 6 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, and 17 tackles for loss. That's production that any team would take in a heartbeat, and in 2022, he had 8 sacks and 12 QB hits before suffering an injury. If you go back even further, his 2021 season, split between Denver and LA, saw him rack up 9.5 sacks and 17 QB hits. The guy can still play. Now, imagine him doing it in a Chiefs uniform against his former team, making life miserable for the Broncos twice a year. Wouldn't that be something? But here's the big question: should the Chiefs do it? Von Miller will turn 35 this season. He's had injury issues. He's not the same guy who won Super Bowl MVP in 2015. But does he have enough left in the tank to be a difference maker on a team that's all about winning rings? That's for Brett Veach to decide, but one thing's for sure: if Miller ends up in Kansas City, this defense could go from great to elite. Now, let's talk offense, because there's another name floating around that would shake things up in a big way: Stefon Diggs. Yes, the same Stefon Diggs who has been the heart and soul of the Buffalo Bills passing attack, the same Stefon Diggs who's had multiple 1,000-yard seasons, and the same Stefon Diggs who once stood on the field after an AFC championship loss to the Chiefs, watching as Kansas City celebrated. That moment clearly stuck with him. Now, could he actually join forces with Patrick Mahomes and turn the Chiefs' receiving corps into one of the most dangerous in the league? It's not out of the question. Let's be real, there's still some uncertainty at wide receiver for Kansas City. Hollywood Brown is back, but can he stay healthy? Rashee Rice is blossoming into a star, but will he face a suspension? Xavier Worthy has the potential to be a game-changer, but he's still a rookie. Bringing in Stefon Diggs would give Mahomes a proven, battle-tested receiver who can dominate in big moments. And before his injury last season, he was still playing at an elite level, 47 catches for nearly 500 yards in just a handful of games. Before that, it was 3 straight seasons of at least 1,100 yards and 8+ touchdowns. The man is a game-changer. And let's talk about motivation. Diggs has been vocal about wanting a ring. He's been close, but he's never gotten over the hump. Kansas City would give him the best chance to do it. Plus, with Buffalo's situation in flux, who knows what the future holds for him there. If the Chiefs could work out a deal, Diggs in this offense would be a problem for every defense in the league. But if Diggs doesn't happen, there's another name that could make just as much sense: Tyler Lockett. Now, this is a guy who would check a lot of boxes for Kansas City. First of all, he's been one of the most consistent and reliable receivers in the NFL over the last decade. He's not flashy, he doesn't demand attention, but he just gets open and makes plays. Secondly, there's a deep Kansas City connection here. He played his college ball at Kansas State, his father played for the Chiefs, and he grew up in Tulsa, not far from KC. This would be a homecoming of sorts for him, and what better way to potentially finish his career than chasing a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes? Now, the big difference between Lockett and Diggs is cost. Diggs is going to want a big contract, probably in the $11 to $12 million per year range. Lockett, on the other hand, could likely be had for around $6 to $7 million. If the Chiefs want a veteran receiver but don't want to break the bank, Lockett could be the perfect fit. But the free agency surprises don't stop there, because Kansas City could also be looking to bolster the offensive line. One name to watch? Brandon Scherff. The former Jacksonville Jaguars guard has been one of the most underrated offensive linemen in the league for years. A former Pro Bowler, he was once ranked among the top 100 players in the NFL. Even as he's gotten older, he's remained a solid and dependable piece on the offensive line. And guess what? He didn't allow a single sack last season. That's the kind of reliability you want protecting Patrick Mahomes. With rumors swirling that Kingsley Suamataia could move inside to guard, adding Scherff would give the Chiefs some serious flexibility on the line. Whether as a starter or a high-quality backup, having a guy like Scherff in the mix would make this offensive line even stronger. So now the question goes to you, who do you want the Chiefs to sign? Should they take a shot on Von Miller and add another veteran pass rusher to the defense? Should they go all in on Stephon Diggs and give Mahomes another elite weapon? Or does Tyler Lockett make more sense as a reliable, cost-effective option? And what about the offensive line? Should the Chiefs make a move to shore up protection for Mahomes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who's the one player Kansas City has to go after in free agency? Let's hear it, Chiefs Kingdom. And let's not forget about the defensive secondary, because there's another name that could be a sneaky good addition for the Chiefs, Marcus Williams. Now, this is a guy who has quietly been one of the most solid safeties in the NFL over the past few years. He started his career with the New Orleans Saints before signing a big deal with the Baltimore Ravens. Injuries slowed him down last season, but when healthy, he's a legitimate playmaker in the secondary. Now, why would the Chiefs be interested? Simple, Justin Reid is gone, and while Kansas City has a strong young core at safety with guys like Jaden Hicks, adding a proven veteran like Williams could be a huge boost. And remember, Steve Spagnuolo loves using three safeties in his defensive schemes. If the Chiefs bring in Williams, he doesn't even have to be an every-down player. But when they go into those creative, three-safety looks, having a guy with Williams' ball-hawking ability would give this defense even more versatility. Go back to 2022, Williams had 4 interceptions that season. That's the kind of production the Chiefs could use, especially in a defense that thrives on creating turnovers. You're not asking him to be the number one guy in the secondary, but if he's part of a rotation, this could be a move that pays off in a big way. And here's the thing, if Kansas City makes even one or two of these moves, we could be looking at a team that's even better than last season. And that's saying something, considering they just won back-to-back Super Bowls. But this is what makes the Chiefs front office so dangerous. Every offseason, they find ways to reload, not rebuild. They don't make moves just for the sake of making moves. They identify the right players, the ones who fit the system, who bring the right attitude, and who can contribute to the championship culture that's been built in Kansas City. Drop your thoughts in the comments. This offseason is far from over, and the Chiefs always have a trick up their sleeve. Could one of these names be the next big move for Kansas City? Let's talk about it.